I hope you don't mind. We're going to go all sci-fi on you now, if that's okay.
Sure.
So we want to talk about UFOs and UAPs, which is unidentified aerial phenomena. Lots of people now are claiming, even professional airline pilots and people in the military are saying that there are unidentified flying objects or aerial phenomena. As a astrophysicist, as a cosmologist, as a Christian, could you give us some insight possibly into what these are? Are these space aliens from another planet? Are these interdimensional beings? Are they angels? What are these sightings?
Well, I wound up becoming an expert on UFOs, not by design.
Okay.
When I was 16, I organized a booth at an exhibition in Vancouver, British Columbia, and they put our astronomy booth right next to the Flying Saucer Club.
Okay.
So from that point onward, I became the one that had to process all the UFO reports. So I did that at the University of British Columbia, University of Toronto, and at Caltech. And what I discovered is 99% of what people report as UFOs can be identified
Right.
as natural phenomena, military experiments, or hoaxes. But there's a 1% residual.
Yep.
And I wound up writing a book on this with two of our colleagues here at Reasons to Believe, Lights in the Sky and Little Green Men, because we wanted to give people a scientifically testable model on UFOs. And we basically cited 6 physicists, none of them who are believers, who've devoted decades of research on this, who point out that the 1% residual, which we cannot identify, they violate the laws of physics, but we can prove that they are real, which means we're dealing with non-physical reality.
Right.
Which explains why a professor I had at the University of Toronto, we had Carl Sagan come for a week-long visit in the summer. He says there's no such thing as UFOs, but his worldview would not tolerate the possible existence of non-physical reality. As a Christian, my worldview does. And the evidence is overwhelming. We got 2,000 crash sites where you can see a little crater. You can see the vegetation is damaged. Snow is melted. But there's no artifacts or debris. If a physical object crashes into the earth, you can recover something. In these cases, there's nothing. And there's even cases where observers, human observers, saw the UFO going through the atmosphere and then crashing into the earth, and there was no heat friction when it went through the atmosphere.
Right.
No sonic boom. If it's a physical object moving at 18,000 miles per hour, you're going to get a sonic boom, you're going to get heat friction. We don't see that. And it was Alan Hynek, the American physicist, who coined the term close encounters and basically made the point that humans who have these close encounters with the phenomena that fall into the category of non-physical reality, the effects are always deleterious. It's never
Right.
The best you're going to come away with are recurring, terrifying nightmares. You say, what's the worst case scenario? There's documented cases of people being killed by the encounters.
Right.
And animals being killed. So this is not a benign phenomena. They mean to do us harm.
Yep.
Which is why I, as a believer, think that this is the handiwork of the fallen angels, the demons. And I find fascinating, we cite this in our book, Lights in the Sky and Little Green Men, 6 physicists who've devoted more than a decade to researching the UFO phenomena all agree that what's behind these UFOs is identical to what's behind witchcraft and the occult.
Okay.
What I've done in my book is to say the Bible warns us to avoid the occult. And if you will eliminate the occult from your life, it'll be the end of your UFO experiences. On the other hand, if you bring the occult into your life in sufficient quantity, you're going to start having recurring experiences. And I also cite evidence that there's a direct correlation between the number of people who have these close encounters with non-physical real phenomena and the degree of commitment to the occult.
Right.
So I spoke in the Soviet Union when the communists were still running the show, and I discovered the percentage of the population that was having these UFO encounters was far higher than anything I saw in Canada or the U.S. But that's because a much larger percentage of the population was involved in the occult.
Right.
What's happened today is the occult has become unpopular in Russia, and therefore the incidence has dropped.
Oh, okay.
So these correlations, I think, tell us a lot.
So just trying to wrap my head around this. So we're potentially saying these could be interdimensional demonic beings. Are they using physical craft to operate within a physical world? Or is this an illusion? Or because I can remember reading in the book of Daniel when an angel is sent to Daniel, and I think in the Hebrew language it says that he kind of traveled at breakneck speed, an incredible speed to go to the prophet Daniel to give him revelation from God. Are we saying then that these demonic beings, when they enter a physical world, they need a physical craft to move in, or was that speculation?
Yeah, what we get from the Bible is that God has created two distinct species of intelligent beings, humans and angels. And we humans are constrained by the physics of the universe. The angels are not.
Yep.
They live in a realm that's distinct from the universe, but unlike us, they have the capacity to come into a realm and leave our realm. We can't go to their realm, but they can come to our realm.
Right.
And when they come into our realm, they will come through a non-physical means, but they can even manifest temporarily a physical entity. So, for example, you see in Scripture that there were angels that ate dinner with Lot, and likewise with Abraham. So they are capable of some physical capacity, but in terms of the UFO phenomena, what we see on spaceships and aircraft and on the ground, 100% of the evidence is that it's not a physical manifestation.
Okay.
On the other hand, when people get killed, something physical is happening. When they crash into the earth, there's a crater. So there's physical effects, but the cause of this, we can't identify anything physical to the cause, which is why you got people like Jacques Vallée, who's probably done the most research on UFOs, saying we're dealing with interdimensional beings, beings that are not constrained by the dimensions of our universe.
Yeah.
But that's identical to what the Bible describes as angels.